Thanks for joining me today. It's been really cool to kind of get out in the local community and meet different people that own businesses and kind of see how everybody's connected, in Quincy. So I kind of want to start with your experience, bringing your business to Quincy and how you feel since you've opened your doors, you've been embraced by the community.
Absolutely, man. This community's been a lot of fun, a lot of good people. And as you said, like with local business owners, there's a lot of badass business owners here locally, and most of them, for the most part, are just as willing as any other to put their hand out and help you out, and reach in for advice and give you advice and push you to be better. So as far as business owners, they're great. I mean, there's so many great entrepreneurs in Quincy, young and old, man and woman, all of the above, and so it's been really great to meet a lot of those. And as far as the community, I mean, I'm just trying to have fun with them, and they seem to be enjoying it and having a lot of fun with me. So it's been really great, really positive. I pride myself a lot on relationships, and it's been really cool to, all the relationships we built with the community and, the surrounding communities as well.
Yeah. And you were telling me a little bit when I first got here about the progress on the building. When you first opened up, was that something that you kind of underestimated of how much work it takes to get a building looking how you want it?
100%. But I had a vision, a definite vision. My wife had a vision. My wife is extremely creative, so it's wonderful having her in my corner. Funny story when it came to that, and some people can see the vision and other people can't. In fact, I brought my mother in here over to that space. I'm like, hey, Mom, check it out. I'm going to open up a restaurant. The place was a wreck. I mean, the plumbing consisted of like a 3x3 where there's just a toilet, and that's all the plumbing they had. So we had to trench through so much. It was a hot mess. My mom, love her, God bless her, she started crying like, what the hell are you doing, Jeremy? And I'm like, Mom, just bear with me, trust the process. This is going to be unbelievable. And, fast forward now that she's seen what we've done over there, over at the new space. She's thrilled and, couldn't be more proud. And, I love that for her. And I love that she trusted the process to let me show you like, hey, I got this. This is going to be unreal. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah. So I assume whenever you bought the building, you found out you weren't an interior designer, you weren't a carpenter. And so, how did you kind of learn those skills to kind of get stuff moving?
Well, again, having great people. Obviously, I'm not a contractor, and especially when it comes to building things like this, you have to have, all the right people, licensed people, a licensed electrician to do your electrician, a plumber to do, you can't just have some Joe Schmo handyman come in here and throw some things together. And thankfully I also have, some other great family members. My brother-in-law, he's a carpenter. He was always willing to help out and throw a hand in whenever he can, from the smallest thing like fixing, a leak to, fixing something structural. I mean, this dude, he's an artist, so it's wonderful to have him in my corner as well. Like I said, I'm a cook or a chef, whatever you want to call it. I really don't give a shit. I love to cook food, and that's all that matters. I'm damn good at it. I always like to tell people I'm a damn good father, I'm a damn good husband, and I'm a damn good cook. I'm not a carpenter. So don't come at me and try to get me to, Jeremy, how would you, I don't know, but if you want me to cook you a burger, bud, I got you. I'll take care of you there.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a struggle with some, entrepreneurs is they think they can do it all. And I think with you realizing hey, I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, and bringing other people in is just going to make this whole process go way easier. Because it's you try to do that stuff yourself. It's 3 months, 6 months down the road, it's this wasn't done right, that wasn't done right. It slows down business and it's just a nightmare, man. So how has business been since you opened? Has it been steady? And how did you kind of gear yourself up for the opening?
Yeah, so it's been unreal. Well, for us, we were lucky. We had a catering company before we opened a restaurant. So we have built, a good, foundation. We had a foundation of people that supported us, a foundation for, things that go into starting a business, building a business, growing a business. So we had that foundation was there. And so when we got to it, so as I said, we started the catering company, and
you can kind of start from there if you want.
Yeah, you want to hear about that? Sorry, but I'm all over the place.
No,
you're going to learn real quick.
Good.
I'm going to take you on a journey, brother.
Okay, we'll go.
I'm about as
okay.
ADHD as you can possibly get. So when I'm thinking of one thing, I'm thinking of 4 other things.
Yeah,
so,
just start from the jump. Yeah.
So when it came to the catering company, you just want to kind of know my little background, how it started.
Yeah.
So cooking kind of found me. When I was in 7th grade, 2 like really significant things happened in my life. 7th grade, my house burnt down and my parents divorced in the same year. Paired that, like I said, with the most extreme ADHD you're going to find. I was just an absolute hot mess. I was all over the place. And I tell people, when you think about, 1, losing a home, and 2, parents divorce, what's the first thing that goes out the window? Those home-cooked meals, everybody sitting at the dinner table together, you, your mom, dad, sisters, that was no more. So there wasn't as much of an emphasis on family dinners. And so I found myself cooking for myself more. And like I said, pair that with being ADHD, I wasn't the best student. And my head was, all over the place, up my ass, I wasn't doing great. Hopped in the kitchen to cook for myself, and I just found like that was my place, my happy place. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie For Love of the Game, and I tell a story a lot, but it's a baseball movie, and I have a baseball background, love baseball. That's where I grew up. I was molded to be a baseball player. This baseball movie, he gets on the mound, and he goes, clear the mechanism, and everything disappears, and he gets like that tunnel vision. That when I get into the kitchen, that's me. You can be in my ear telling me every damn thing you hate about me, and it won't freaking matter. I'm in my place. I'm in my happy place. I'm where I'm supposed to be in that moment. I can clear everything, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So 7th grade, I found that. I continued to cook. Guys are hanging out. We're cooking a little barbecue. My best friend, Tad Libbyhusen, his little sister was getting married. She's like, Jeremy, you always cook for us in the backyard. What are the chances you can cook for my wedding? And I'm like, well, I'm going to need a big enough smoker to cook that wedding. So I was like, I'll charge you the cost of that smoker. Well, I found that smoker. It was $2,300. And that's what I charged for that wedding. That wedding was 250 people. In hindsight, she got a hell of a deal. She crushed it, So, but what she did, there is I booked like 3 weddings from that one wedding. So I'm like, all right, that first wedding went flawless. I remember the owners of that venue was like, oh my God, how long you guys been doing this? This is our very first one. They were like, holy cow, well, we want you here more. They put us as a preferred vendor, and then every wedding you cook, we booked another one, and another one, and another one. And next thing you know, it just got huge. My wife and I were both in the social work field, social work, law enforcement. We had 2 wonderful kids. I have a daughter and a son, and they are amazing. They're rock stars, but they're also, they challenge me in every way. They're the most beautiful thing and the most difficult thing I've ever done my whole life. But as I told you, the 3 things that I pride myself on was being a good father, a good husband, and those are the 2 most important things to me. And with having the business, which was booming so well, having a full-time job, 2 kids, and my wife and I, time was difficult, trying to find that balance. So something had to give. And so we got to that point where we either have to scale back or we have to go all in. I like to tell people it's my shit or get off the pot moment. Like, we had to do something. Something had to give. Family, that's not negotiable. Absolutely not negotiable. So I was in social work, and God bless social work. I loved it. I gained so many skills from it, and so many skills I actually applied to my life and what I do now. But if you know social work, it's a pretty undervalued, financial job. And so it's like, really, did I have much to lose? So, screw it. Let's do this. So we found this building. It was rough, but it was within our budget at the time, because every budget gets blown, and boy, did we blow it. So we hopped in. I quit my job and we opened a restaurant. And fast forward to day one. Wow. It was one of, as far as like professional and business, it was the most amazing feelings I've ever experienced. The best experiences I've ever had outside of my wife and kids. We opened those doors, and holy cow, there was a line more than a block long. And like, I was ready. I was going to go up there, do my piece. I love talking, and I'm fine with that. But I absolutely broke down, ugly cry. Like, it's just like, it was just so surreal that this moment actually came around. And social media has been very, very good to us. We've been very fortunate. We definitely are not making it where we are now without social media. So that has been a blessing. And like I said, we've built off that. It's really helped us grow, and got me in front of more people.
So that was something that, as the catering business was growing, you continued to like push social and like continued to market through that. Got more clients, whether that be through weddings or word of mouth, that sort of thing. The community kind of helped you out. And I assume when you announced the opening of the restaurant, it was like everybody was.
Oh, it was unreal.
It was all in.
It was unreal.
Yeah.
And I have another good buddy, and like I said, I have so many people that are just willing to be out there and help me. They want to see your dreams come to fruition. And my buddy Sam Carroll. He had his own business, Explore Nutrition, and he used to have Shadow CrossFit, and that's what he does. Now he works for a huge company doing like PR, marketing, and so he helped me put together these little teasers. He took some photos for me, and we just had a lot of fun with it. And us being able to have fun with it allowed the community to have fun with it, and that was a lot, just a lot of fun as well.
Yeah. So when you made that decision to kind of jump ship from full time and then make this your full time, how did you balance that? And you mentioned the family aspect. What did your typical days look like? Leading up to like, all right, we're doing this for real.
So really, we knew when we were going to do this. I knew that I wanted to design this around family and not family around the business. Like I said, it's non-negotiable. If there's anything I can pass along, when people hear the Platt name, I want them to think great father, great husband. Like, that's what I want to hear when that Platt name comes around. I want people to just, that was a really good person, and he really loved his family. So when we put that together, and we know Sundays was non-negotiable family day. There's no work. It's just non-negotiable. And then we're off on Mondays, and that's kind of a me day. But, Wednesdays we're lunch only, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday are get after it days. And don't get me wrong. I'm laying in bed. You're going to catch me doing some things, coming up with ideas and whatnot. That never stops, That's that ADHD brain of mine. I can constantly think of 5 different things at a time and try to constantly evolve and be better. To answer your question, when we built it with that balance in mind. It was, family for the restaurant.
Yeah, and so for people that, say like, oh, I know I'm a good cook, like I think I can make this my own business, what is your warning, I guess, and then like some advice that you would give to somebody looking to start their own restaurant? Absolutely.
Well, it's an absolute freaking roller coaster, let me tell you. You'll hit the highest highs and lowest lows. You really got to be more emotionally and mentally fit than you can be, skills wise. When it comes to the cooking, you can be a great cook, but if you can't handle all the other stuff, it's going to be hard and it's going to be a long road. But I've known from my whole life, like this is what I was going to do. I'm getting off the track, but like when I was in 7th grade, this is the geekiest thing ever. Like, so my name is Jeremy Platt. My friends used to call me Germs Platinum. It's so silly, so stupid. But I told everybody, like, hey, I told my aunts, my uncles, in 7th grade, like, I'm going to open up a barbecue restaurant one day, and it's going to be called Platinum Barbecue. And so that stuck. And I got in college and people started calling me Platt Daddy. And I'm like, all right, well, it's Platt Daddy BBQ right now. So here I am. I'm just getting off of it. Where were we at again? What was the question?
I was just asking your advice for somebody that's maybe thinking about opening their own spot.
Practice. The thing is, you're going to fuck up a lot before you get better. That's just the nature of it. And that's life. I mean, we have to go through those in order to get better. And, keep playing with it, keep trying to evolve, keep trying to be better. It's not going to be rainbows and roses. You're going to mess up, but that's okay. The important thing is when you mess up, you don't give up. You try to get better. You do better. You be better. You don't make excuses. And to this day, I mean, I still, do some things that I regret, like, things I could have done better. A customer has a bad experience because it's going to happen. You can't please everyone. Do I get pissed? Yeah, it's frustrating. But I also make sure I can be better. One thing that happened just last week, I had a customer who comes in here a lot, and my gumbo I made the mistake, and it ended up just getting too salty. My sausage rendered out and made it too salty. He emailed me and told me that. And I'm like, dude, thank you so much. Like, that couldn't have been more respectful. You can have people come here 20 times. They love it every time they come one time. They'll bash it online or put it on Google. And I was so appreciative of this guy. He didn't go post on social media. He didn't go bitch to my staff. He respectfully emailed me. And I said, I'm so thankful. Thank you, man. I said, come in tomorrow. I'm making a new batch of this gumbo. I would love for you to try it. So advice, be humble, be respectful, build around your relationships, build a community. You can't find success without community and with the people around you. I told you I have a social work background, and I worked at Chaddock for quite a few years. Chaddock is very relationship focused, and I apply that to life in so many ways. Building relationships as a business owner is probably more important sometimes than just cooking a good product. The product's really important, but if you don't build a community, if you don't establish relationships, people aren't going to invest in you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, absolutely. So if I'm not taking care of people around me, whether it be my employees, my customers, my wife, my kids, my suppliers, if I'm not treating them well, they're not going to treat me well. So basing my life off the relationships I build have been paramount. And I would advise anyone in the business and you just continuously build relationships. Build up to people around you. You are going to be who you surround yourself by. You surround yourself by a bunch of shitty people, you're going to be a shitty person. And that just is what it is. But I would say just building those relationships is just as important, if not more important, than putting out a good product. The product is very important. Don't get me wrong. But if people don't know who you are and they don't see you as a good person, they're not going to come purchase your product. I see there's a lot of businesses out there that just, they all do the same stuff. And my food's a lot different, but if there's 10 restaurants that do all the same stuff, what is going to get you to go to one over the other? To me, that is relationships. People are going to invest in you before they invest in that product. If I can get a burger at 10 places, I'm going to go to the place where I know that person's going to treat me well. He's respectful. He treats others with respect, and he just is all around. He just loves people, and that's what I believe in. I believe in people. I believe in taking care of others, and like I said, building a community around. our business.
Yeah, I mean, and you were saying with people doing the same thing, it's like that. What's the separating factor? Is that relationship? It's like, yeah, you could be the best cook in the world if I go to your place and then I just get seated and it's like a dark kind of dreary, like I don't feel comfortable there, and then you don't really greet with a smile. You don't like ask anything. You just put down food and it's the best food ever, and then I leave and I'm like, oh, that place didn't make me feel great.
Right.
Like the food was good, but I didn't feel good going there.
And you'll notice that here. You said dark and dreary. I went the complete opposite. They said, what do you want to do? I said, and my wife is the same way. I'm wanting like Midwest Magnolia Farms. Like I want it bright and white, that shiplap, that natural brick. I want to encourage conversations. We wanted this to be about the community as well, where people can sit here, talk like we are right now, not have to yell over someone. I can see you really well because the lights are bright, and also you have your beautiful light in front in my face. But and we're over here at this new space right now, and I built the idea of this. My wife and I, we wanted to build this around family. We have a playroom right off over here. It's very bright. We don't have music. We don't have TVs over here. This is meant for conversation. So I want mom and dad to be able to come over here, have a meal, maybe have a beer or something. Kids can go over there, and they don't need to be on iPhones or, iPads or whatever. Like, yeah. And that's something that's very important to me is, having that family time. And then technology has really put us in a weird space. In my opinion, and like I said, I'm completely going off topic here, but I'm just, these are things that are very important to me. It's these social skills. Just social skills have drastically declined, and I believe that's 100% from technology. One thing I learned with what I did with Chaddock and kids, it used to be the brain fully developed at like 24, and then now it's like I don't know if it's 26 or 29, and they correlate that with cell phones. It slowed down their brain development, and because people aren't out there talking, communicating, and if there's one thing I could pass on to my kids, it's going to be social skills. My 7-year-old can come in here. And I mean, she's not going to come in here for an 8-hour shift with me but she can be on the floor with me for 2 hours. She will run to tables, bring them food, talk to people. And that so far for me has been one of the most rewarding things, is being able to see that this thing that we have built, I'm able to use that to push my daughter to be successful in life. And, social skills are going to take her further than calculus will, I can assure you. If you can't, like I said, it's all about relationships. If you can't build those relationships, if you can't talk to talk, you're going to be stuck in a cubicle or working at home. I want my daughter to be able to go out and just, be able to talk to anybody, be comfortable, and build those relationships as we have.
Yeah, and I mean, it leads to and you mentioned being stuck on the phone, and it's like, if you don't put yourself out there, as people like to say, and it's like you got to get a little bit uncomfortable. You got to have some conversations where it's like, maybe I don't know this person that well, but I'm going to try to build a relationship. And once you kind of get past the scariness of it, it becomes way more of like, oh, this is fun, and I get to meet different people, and it even adds value to like your self-esteem and that sort of thing. So whenever you are, working with your kids on that, is that something that you emphasize from a young age of making sure there's not a huge fear of people and not letting them just kind of sit and on phones and that sort of thing?
I think we all kind of fall into bad habits, and I'm guilty of it. I've done it. We've taken the easy route, and I personally need to be better at it. I get my kids in here, I get them around people, but sometimes it's just so easy to all right, mom and dad need a break. Go get on your iPad. And I hate that we default to that. And like I said, I'm still guilty of it. And we try to do better, and it's even better now that we have the nice weather. We can get out and do things. But again, where were we at?
That I was just asking kind of how you going into raising kids and maintaining a healthy environment for your kids. It's like you mentioned, trying to keep them off the technology as much as you can. But like, I mean, everybody's guilty of it. It's like, hey, if I'm like, in the middle of cooking dinner and I got to run, do laundry, I got to do dishes, and I got to do all this stuff. It's like, I can't have, a little kid hanging onto my arm or leg or whatever. It's like, okay, they got an hour or whatever on the iPad watching some, like, I think if you can make it at least informational, like some kind of like ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, however direction you want to go with that, it's better than just like, oh, here's some random show that somebody's making it that I don't know. They could be saying whatever to you. Like, I think that's where the danger of it is. And even like, all right, I pick up my kid from daycare or school, and then it's like, all right, here's your iPad. I'm gonna go do whatever I want to do for 5 hours, and then you're gonna go to bed. I think so. Like having a good give and take with that. But yeah, like you mentioned with the nice weather coming up, it's like how. So what does your like typical family kind of time look like? Like, what do you guys like to do?
Right. So right now we have the good weather. I usually leave here around 4, go pick up my kiddo here in town, and then we actually live in Missouri, so I'll go across the river, get my daughter from her after school, and then by that time, my wife and I usually get home about the same time, somewhere between 4:45 and 5. Right now, for the last few days, as soon as she gets home, we are getting the bikes and going out and down the road, and we're gonna. My daughter rode her bike for the very first time without trading wheels. That's awesome. Now she is like crazy and wants to ride her bike. Wants to ride her bike down the road to the friends. So that's been awesome. The other day, we loaded the bikes up in the truck, picked up a pizza, went to the park and rode around. That was cool. Eating on the truck bed. I don't know. It's just something. It's a lot of these things as kids that like we did that, you just don't see anymore. And what's really cool is the house that we actually live in was actually the house that I grew up in. We bought it from my mom 4 years ago. And then my neighbor, who we kind of share a driveway with, he grew up, him and I, we grew up together. He bought his parents' house like a month after. So we're like, dude, we really want, the kids to just go play up in the field, be free, go out there, get dirty. And then, dinner's ready. Like when we were kids, I miss that. And I want my kids to be able to experience that. So, right now we're getting, out there and trying to be outside as much as we can. My son, love him to death. He is the biggest mama's boy ever. He could go a few days without me and probably wouldn't even care. God bless him, I love him. But then my daughter, she's the biggest daddy's girl. So, you take him where you are, and then when we get down the road, maybe he'll want to be around daddy a little bit more. He's awesome, though. He's fun. He pretty much clings on to mommy nonstop. So if there comes time we need to put him on iPads, it's probably because we're about ready to get the jaws of life to pry him off my wife.
Yeah, I think that's really hard in relationships, especially like first kid, and then it's not just you two anymore, and now you have another life to worry about, and then the relationship that is the most important in the house, right, is mom and dad, and so like keeping that at the center of everything is a really tricky balance, especially. And then it's like with you, man, you throw in at first when it was full-time job, catering, kids, it's like that stuff it's easy for it to kind of go out the window, and then it tends to like creep up down the road. Like when me and my wife aren't giving each other enough time, it's like you just kind of notice it in little things, and then it's like, hey, we need to get back on the same page and start being together. But I do like that you have kind of a system schedule where it's like, okay, I know on this day this is where it's like nothing else matters, and we're focusing on our family. So that's awesome, man. I wanted to get into a little bit of like what can somebody expect like the first time that they come into your business? Like what kind of food do you switch it up different weeks, different seasons? How do you kind of manage your menu?
Well, so one, they're gonna like completely see just a fun, welcoming environment. Like I said, it's gonna be that bright and white, just all natural. So I think that it's a very welcoming environment. When you come in, you're going to be annoyed with all of us because we're all going to come say hello. How are you doing? It's your first time here. What's unique about the menu is we change it up every month. Every month is a brand new menu, and I correlate that right back to my ADHD because I have so many ideas and I constantly want to do different things. So I tell everybody when they come in, is this your first time here? I appreciate your continued support. Oh, you haven't been here? Well, awesome. Let me tell you about my menu. We change it up every month. And our menu isn't huge. there's like 10 to 15 things on there. But I always tell people I would rather do 10 or 15 things really good, consistent, minimalize my waste, maximize my profits, than do 40 things half-assed, not consistent, and have a ton of waste. And then pair that with, like I said, I changed that menu. I mean, I have a note in my phone, probably 400 different items deep. So I'm constantly coming up with ideas. I've had dreams in the middle of the night where I woke up in the middle of the night. I'm like, get it in my phone ASAP. But when people come in, we're gonna tell them that, tell them about the experience, the menu changing. And another cool thing that we do with the menu to get the community involved is I choose a different business every month, a local business, a small business, someone out there that's grinding as we are, business owners that come in here and support me. We put them on our menu every month. We pick one business, and we might use a product that they sell to make an item, or we will come up with a menu item with them in mind. Maybe, what is their favorite food? And then I will do my own unique spin on it. With the restaurant, the big part of the restaurant's kind of my fun. It's kind of my hobby. With catering, it's all meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes every weekend. Pulled pork, mashed potatoes, green beans, pulled pork, mashed potatoes, green beans. Same damn thing every week. Don't get me wrong, it's great. But it doesn't allow me to be unique. It doesn't allow me to be creative. The restaurant is my opportunity to be creative, to have fun, to let loose, to push, culinary boundaries. So when I show people the menu and I talk to them about the menu, I want to show them that there's more to barbecue than just a pulled pork sandwich. So we like to explain these things. I try to get out and, say hi to people and, shake their hands, thank them. If they're, customers in here all the time, I'm, giving them a hug, talking, checking in on them, their family. So just in all around family environment, a community, and just someone who loves to cook and be creative. Like I said, the restaurants, it's the most stressful, fun thing I've done. It's kind of my. I mean, I have hobbies, but it's more or less like my hobby. It's my chance to just have fun. We've done brisket shepherd's pie. I've done brisket poutine. Just so many silly stuff. I've done my take on the KFC bowl. And just instead of, the chicken on there, there's, brisket gravy and all this. I just want to have fun and constantly try to recreate things and push myself to, just come up with something fun that everyone's going to enjoy.
Yeah. And you mentioned some of the hobbies, like with it being a hobby. And I think that's like, okay, I'm thinking about it even when I'm not working, and I'm looking forward to going in there and trying this new thing. With some of your hobbies outside of it, what kind of stuff do you enjoy, doing whenever you have those Jeremy days?
Yeah. I mean, being with my family is what I have more fun than anything doing. But my Jeremy days, when it's warm, I like to go out to the golf course. I like to be outdoor. I love being outside. Being outside is just that's my space. I love golfing when I can. I'm not great at it, but I have a damn good time doing it. I'm that guy on the scramble team that just talks a lot of smack and has a lot of fun, and keeps the vibes, nice and high. I like hiking, just getting out and trying to see things. And I enjoy traveling. Not that I get to do it much, but I also have found, like, when it comes to travel, if you don't invest in time, sometimes you won't make time. So, it's with my wife being in that full-time position, before she come back over here, my big advice to a lot of people would be invest in time in you, or you won't make time. So, even if it's booking a hotel here in Quincy for the night, I'm sorry, babe. We got to find a sitter, babe. We're having a night out. We're staying at Town and Country. Date night.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But hobbies are just really being outside, and that's kind of what's harder when it's cold, because I don't have a whole lot that to do, because I want to be outside. So I'll just come in here and do some inventory, watch a shit ton of cooking videos, or try to figure out what I can do to grow the business and whatnot. So now it's warm. I'll be outside as much as I possibly can.
Yeah. Golf is. I mean, people say baseball is America's pastime, but golf is creeping up there.
I think you're right.
Years, it's really changed. So is baseball not? Is that? Did you play through college, through high school? How did you
all through high school, college. I played a lot of ball. Too much ball, if I'm being completely honest. Travel ball, played for the national team, played college. But by the time I got to college, I played so much ball that my heart wasn't in it anymore. Oh, my God, extremely burnt out. I didn't even want to look at a baseball anymore. But, life goal that I always had is making sure I want people, like I said, to hear that last name and think about, what are they going to hear or think of when they hear that last name? And being just a silly kid growing up, I'm like, when they hear that last name Platt, they're going to think of that stud baseball player. You're a young, arrogant, ignorant kid. Every kid is going professional at baseball, basketball, football, like that. What do I want to be when I grow up? I want to be a quarterback for the St. Louis Rams. But it wasn't until, I, met my wife and started, doing this, we became Platt Daddy BBQ. I'm like, what's going to be the one thing that when people hear your last name, what are you going to be known for? And once, sports was out, soda machine. But so what sports has gone in the past, and I was completely comfortable with that. I was burnt out. I didn't want to be part of it anymore. But now, fast forward, now we have a restaurant, and my last name's on the front of the building. Yeah. So it after all that, it wasn't the little baseball player that was going to go pro and be the next Adam Wainwright, as I would have said at the time, because that was my hero as a kid. It was building this dream and this restaurant and building my family. And I think, it's just really cool to see that, when people hear my last name now, they are starting to think outside of, just, what the other people that they know with that last name. It's like they know Jeremy, the father, Jeremy, the husband, Jeremy that has the restaurant, Platt, that's Platt Daddy. Mm-hmm. So that's been really beautiful to see that I've been able to, and I still have so far to go, and but I want to build a legacy for my children. I want them to be proud of where they came from, but we're slowly getting there, and I'm happy with where we came so far.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going in the right direction, or even if if you're going in, if you don't know what the right direction is, it's like, hey, we're going somewhere. Yeah. It's like we might not have anything in the GPS, but we're moving, right? I think that's like with any kind of entrepreneurial journey. I think people just have that fear of like getting started and like, all right, I'm gonna actually put myself out there and try to do something. And it's like, because it's really bold, it's like, oh, I like doing whatever thing is you enjoy doing. It's like there's a way you can make a business out of that. It takes a little bit of creative thinking, takes a lot of effort, and takes a lot of time, but it's possible. And I think it's awesome that you made that decision, and it kind of started so organically of like, yeah, me and my buddies like cooking, and then it's one of our buddies getting married, so let's do a catering. Why not? I'm gonna get a free you probably thinking I'm gonna get a free what was smoker? I'm gonna get a free smoker out of this.
Absolutely.
And then yeah, like you get a free nice, super nice smoker. At the time it was $2,300. Yeah, that'd be a real nice smoker, like Traeger or something like that, right? And then it turns into this whole business that it's like now you're thinking for my kids futures, like this could be something that I build up enough to like give them a little bit of a head start in life. So yeah, I think that's really great, man. Have you ever seen the show The Bear?
Oh, absolutely.
Are you familiar with that show?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
and the main character, his name is Jeremy. So it's just I mean, it's just meant to be.
Yeah. No, that was kind of that's kind of the most. And I kind of want to get your take on it, as owning your own restaurant and that kind of thing. But from my, me watching it and kind of seeing some people's takes on it, is that one of the more realistic, raw experiences of how stressful it is and all the hurdles you have to go through?
Yes and no. Maybe not necessarily what I do, because we're a lot more small scale. We're not, pushing, we're not doing the same thing. If you're in a high crazy high-end restaurant, yeah, it's going to be insane. But I mean, it definitely. I like how they show the relationships in and out of the kitchen. So that's pretty cool. They show the good, the bad, and the ugly. I need to watch the last season. I haven't watched the last season. So, but there's definitely some similarities. And actually, my favorite kind of celebrity chef, Matty Matheson. I don't know if you know him. So he in that show, he is the maintenance guy, that big dude with all the tattoos.
Okay.
Yeah. So he developed all the recipes for that show, and he, like me, he's just what you see is what you get. No fluff, no bullshit. Like, he speaks it freely, and that's kind of how I am. So that's also something I was really excited. Matty Matheson's in this show. Let's go.
Yeah. So do you have any experience dealing with do you know guys that are high level, Michelin level guys? Do you have relationships with other chefs and things like that?
Yeah, I have more relationships in the barbecue community, obviously. I mean, I have some awesome relationships, and I've been really fortunate. No necessarily Michelin star. I've met a lot of people who, I wouldn't say I have relationships with them, but in passing. But a cool story about another barbecue. I'm sure you've heard of Sugar Fire out of St. Louis, right?
I think so.
So they're out of St. Louis. They're all over now. They have them in Denver. They're all over the place. But back during COVID, my nephew got diagnosed with leukemia, and was at Cardinal Glennon. And this is just kind of what the barbecue community is like, and it's why I'm so honored and blessed to be part of that community. He was in the hospital. I couldn't visit. I couldn't go up there, and it wasn't, really easy for me to just get, a pile of pulled pork and bring it up to him, and, there had no way to heating it up. But he was like, I just want some pulled pork. I want some of Uncle's pulled pork. So I hit up the owner of Sugar Fire on it, because we most of all of us would communicate through Instagram. I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. Is there any way you can get my nephew some pulled pork? And not only did the owner get him some pulled pork, he brought food for my sister, my nephew, all the patients and staff on the floor, brought some shirts and stuff for my nephew to wear. I mean, if that just doesn't say a lot about just the barbecue community in general, I'm extremely thankful that they did that. At a hard time with that during, the time where they couldn't allow family to be around. There's only one person allowed. I mean, anything that can lift his spirits is, worth its weight in gold. And I'm very thankful of them for that. But that kind of shows you kind of what the barbecue community is like.
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, even as you kind of got more and more into the community, I'm guessing as you built those relationships, you were kind of oh, this guy's doing this. Maybe I should try to do something similar to that. Do you pull from those resources of I really like how this guy either, manages his staff or communicates with his customers, or, some of the ways that he has his restaurant set up. Do you take inspiration from that community? Or is it just all?
Not really, because I mean, my wife's had too, but I pride myself on being different. Original. And it's very, very important to me. I don't want to be repetitive. I don't want to do the same thing that other people are doing. It's just very important that I set myself apart from others. And when the college I graduated from good old Culver Stockton College, they had the most corny slogan, but I loved it. And it was do something different. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But, I think that's important to be different and, be unique in yourself and be your own self. I don't want to be like anyone else. I just want to be like, Jeremy, and, I just want to be like Platt Daddy. That's been very important for me. I do look up to a lot of these people and see what they're doing, and I love that, and I love seeing other people succeed, but I want to truly be unique in what I do.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever struggle with feeling like you have a good idea and then not, and being unsure, doubtful, and or is that not your personality? Or are you just full go with things?
Yes and no. The thing is, I have so many ideas, but that I want to do, but not all of them translate to the restaurant world. Being able to, do something small and tedious, but try to find a way to make 1,000 of those in a week. Like it's hard to find what's practical and what's not practical. Most of the things that I make and put on the menu, I've never made my whole life. We just have I have a good nick for flavors and what works and what doesn't work. And there's times I put something on the menu, I've never made it, and I try it the first day of the menu. I'm like, well, how can it not be good? I mean, come on. And so far, I haven't had anything that I just made up that tastes like shit. So that's in the right direction. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because I think a lot of people struggle with that. Like, you call it imposter syndrome or whatever you want to call it, of like, not thinking that their idea is good enough, and just feeling like that, if I take this step, it might not work out very well. And I think, with your strategy in that is like, I'm already going to come up with 1,000 ideas, and then I'm just going to shoot them at the wall, and then whatever one sticks is what we're going with. Is that kind of your route, or is it like, all right, let me consult with my wife, and then what she thinks is good, and we both, do you kind of have a system for that?
I definitely run. So I when I come with these ideas, and like when I go like, all right, babe, March is coming up. This is what I'm gonna do for the March menu. What are your thoughts? And then me and her will go back and forth and kind of see a few things, and then I send it to all of my staff, and I look for feedback from my staff, and because I do all the smoking and everything, and then I kind of train them on how to make the things, and then they do all that. So I'm on the smoker, and then I'm handling, customers, those relationships. I'm on the computer, like there's so many things going on. So it's very important that I get their feedback and get their buy-in, and make sure they're invested in this menu as well. So there's things that they'll tell me, maybe this, maybe that, or sometimes we put it on a menu, come up with that menu, and that first day and we're like, oh God, we need to change this shit up real quick. So I definitely rely on my staff a lot, and like I said, it's taking care of the people around you and making sure I get that investment from them to help us overall be successful as a team.
Yeah. So when you look at the future, what are some of you could go short term, long term, and you mentioned another barbecue place that started kind of franchising out. Like, is that something that you would like to do long term, or is it too personable for you?
No, I don't think I would want to. I don't think I'd want to do that. Before I even started like catering and doing like competition type stuff, I loved creating spices and sauces. So I would love to continue to build a brand. We already have our seasoning. It's called Oink Dust, and some Hy-Vees, Ace Hardware, some Neiman's, just all kinds of random places. But I have found it very, very, very difficult to focus on more than two businesses at a time. Yeah. So we got the catering company, we got the restaurant, we got the seasoning. My wife owns Yellow Kiss Boutique. It's just pure chaos. So I've always found that when two businesses are booming at the same time, you tend to neglect a third business. So I've kind of scaled back from the seasoning at the moment, because I don't want to burn any bridges or lose any relationships with these big retailers. I'll still work with like Hy-Vee and whatnot because they're amazing to work with. But it's hard to give them what they deserve. And they deserve me to give it my all. And I can't necessarily give them that all right now. So I'm trying to make sure I'm taking care of what's in front of me first. So down the road, once I can kind of get away from the restaurant a little bit, where I have someone I can trust to, do the smoking or do things, I would love to get back into that branding and, getting that seasoning out there. And I have 5 or 6 other seasonings. I have sauces. I have so many things. And then I'm crazy, us ADH kids. We're most of us, we love entrepreneurship. We love taking risks. We get off on the risk. So I have multiple businesses I'd love to open, but I'm just trying to take it one step at a time, and we'll see where it takes us. And like I said, going back to make sure we take care of family first.
And I'm curious on that process. Like, how did you start to work with some of those retailers? Like, do you have to just a friend through a friend? Do you reach out directly and like offer the product? They kind of test it. How does that work?
So initially, it was the grind, walking into every place, trying to call these small shops, trying to get, anyone who would take it, or grinding out internet sales or, person-to-person sales. I used to walk around events with a book bag of seasonings, and I would peddle oink dust on the street, man. Someone's, selling, other people are selling other types of dust. I'm selling oink dust, literally book bag full of dust. And I would go out and I would try to sell it like at events and festivals. But once we opened a restaurant and we got that brand recognition and our socials were kicking off the way they were, they started reaching out to us and they wanted it in their stores. So the restaurant, and it's crazy. They all work together. The restaurant gets me more caterings. Our caterings have increased substantially, and then the catering financially supports restaurant. Restaurant profit margins are not great. Catering are a little bit better, so it's nice that they can feed each other. We are not able to. Our catering company is not able to be successful without our restaurant. And our restaurant's not able to be successful without that catering. So,
and then the oink dust isn't able to be successful without you peddling it like that,
peddling that dust. So, and I hope to really get back into the grind because I have a lot of fun doing it, and I love sales, and I love being in front of people and talking and just meeting random people and just sharing my passion, sharing my love for what I do.
Awesome. Well, Jeremy, I appreciate your time, man. That was awesome to learn about the business, and I'm gonna have to try me some oink dust at some point because it sounds pretty good, man.
Appreciate you, man.